Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock Off the Perch, a Manchester United podcast. In this episode, we'll be talking about the big match against Spurs. We'll dive into the current form of both teams, the tactics, the key battles, and of course, we'll talk about our predicted lineup and our predicted score. Let's get right into it.
Big match for Manchester United taking on Spurs at home. And yeah, this one is going to be a high pressure game for both the managers. Both the clubs haven't been doing well. And in the past as well, Tottenham have always been a club which has been mid-table, sometimes challenging for the Champions League. In the past, United always used to finish top three. And in the last 10 years, while Spurs in certain years have done well, they have easily qualified for the Champions League, maybe given a bit of a competition for the league, but have always fallen through. United, few of the seasons have done well. They have finished over Spurs, but in the larger scheme of things, if you were to look at it, both the clubs have had a similar trajectory in the last few years. One season they will finish in the Champions League positions. The next season they will finish somewhere between 6 to 8. So that inconsistency has been something that both the clubs have been dealing with. And hopefully this is the year at least United are able to overcome that. And in that sense, Spurs are our big rivals. We need to get a win over them, at least at our home ground. And hence, this will be a big one. But our recent form hasn't been great. What do you think, Dheeraj?
Let's be very honest. United's form this season has been very inconsistent. It has been a roller coaster start to the season. We are 5 games deep into the season and we have only collected 7 points to show for it. Spurs are in a very similar form. They are also with 7 points in 5 games. It's far from the top 4 contention that both the clubs aim for. So the fixture has some sort of pressure attached to it for both the managers. Let's talk about United. We've been talking about the clinical nature of Wenger's attacking unit, which hasn't been on display at all. We're creating chances after chances. Our XG is actually third highest in the league, only behind City and Liverpool. It sits at 9.59, but we have only managed about 1 goal per game in the Premier League. Barnsley game was the only game in which we actually outscored the XG. Who are the key culprits in this thing? Our attacking unit has been misfiring, but a lot of the blame will be going towards Bruno Fernandes as well, who's been quite wasteful in front of the goal. He's had 17 shots and not a single one converted.
I will agree about Bruno Fernandes. He is no doubt our biggest player. He is somebody who has carried the team, but this season he has been extremely poor in a lot of matches, otherwise average at best in some of the other matches. And given the fact that he has carried this team for so long, it just sets up a lot of expectations from him. We have put him on a high pedestal in the past, and which is where we have all these complaints which the fan base is also talking about. The manager spoke about Bruno Fernandes in the press conference as well. He is backing Bruno Fernandes to come good, which is what most of us fans also want to see. And we were discussing this in the past as well. Bruno's contribution is so immense to the team that the moment he falls off, the team starts to look slightly average. But here is hoping that he is able to come good. He is able to get his mojo back. And if not, he is doing those brilliant passes to find the forward players. At least he should continue to do the basics right. So it is also about a little bit of a pragmatic approach. Sometimes I know Bruno is known for his high risk, high return kind of approach. But if he can be a little pragmatic when things are not going his way, that will help. And it will also help the overall game state because we'll be able to control the games better.
Talking about game state also, we've only been ahead of 15% in total match time this season. That stat alone tells us how United have failed to control games. The only silver lining which I see in all this is that we as a team are still creating big chances. In fact, big chances better than most of the Premier League. I feel it's only a matter of time we start converting these chances more regularly. We just need that killer instinct. I believe getting Højlund back will be big for us. I think he will be converting those chances. He is the poacher. He was quite well in form end of the last season. Sadly, he had that injury. But yeah, him coming back will be huge for us. Talking about Spurs. Now, Tottenham are coming off from 2 consecutive wins. They will have confidence on their side. They have momentum on their side. Now, despite going down to 10 men, they beat Karabakh 3-1. Standout performances from both their new players, Archie Gray as well as Solanke. Solanke has been coming into form. Spurs recently came off against Brentford with a 2-1 victory as well, which sort of helped them end a mini slump from back-to-back Premier League losses. Now, away form of Tottenham have always been a worry. The stat says they have only 3 wins since November 23. They have struggled on the road. They have earned just 14 points. 14 points from the last 15 games. So even if they are looking for a top 4 finish, they have to improve their away performance. But this is where we attack them. Talking about head-to-head, Spurs are unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games against United. They have won once and 2 have been drawn. But again, United haven't lost at home at Old Trafford to Spurs since October 2020. As much as this match is about which team scores more goals, it will come down to defenses, I feel. It will be about who makes the less mistakes as well. Both the teams have been leaky in their defenses. Who comes to this match in better form will be key.
No, that is absolutely the most critical point. And if we also look at the style of play that Spurs have been playing under Ange Postecoglou since last year, they are doing a lot of aggressive pressing, trying to win the ball off the opposition midfield or defense, forcing them into mistakes, and then doing very quick attacks. So, which is where some of their midfielders have been very critical in winning the ball back and then passing it to the likes of Son, Brennan Johnson, when Kulusevski was playing on the wings, maybe then. And that has created a lot of difference. And I think this is what Manchester United will need to be wary of. We have been guilty of making those mistakes in the past. The game against Liverpool was a prime example of that. Casemiro made a couple of mistakes. Even Menu made a mistake in the second half. And that led to goal. As recently as the game against Twente, the mistake by Eriksen led to a goal, and which is what we will have to avoid, and that will be a critical aspect.
United lined up in a 4-2-3-1 against Twente with Zirkzee and Fernandes leading the line. Eriksen was influential in the midfield, although his mistake was the one which got the goal. And Rashford looked super confident on the wing after his not so expected benching in the last Premier League game. Tottenham, on the other hand, play with a 4-3-3. Positional rotations, we expect Maddison as well as Son to be key. They also employ a very inverting fullbacks and very relentless press kind of system.
Over the last couple of games, what Spurs have been doing is the 4-3-3 that they have been playing. They are essentially only playing one holding sort of a midfielder, and on the left and right of those holding midfielder is James Maddison and Kulusevski. So they have a lot of creative impetus in their central midfield, and which is where they're building out those attacks, where their central defensive midfielder will win the ball. They will pass on to either a Kulusevski or a Maddison, and they will then they will carry the ball forward. And so far they were struggling to do well, but in the last couple of games, James Maddison has come great on his own. The previous Premier League game, in fact, he created so many chances, he got a goal. So that is something that we will need to be wary of.
Where this game will be lost or won is the midfield duel, I believe. It will be interesting to see how Menu heads up against Maddison, how Bissouma and Sarr they do against United's midfield. Ugarte, especially after his a bit underwhelming start, it'll be very interesting to see how he plays against the traditional Big Six. Another key battle which I'm looking forward to in this match would be Mazraoui versus Son. So on the wings, it'll be Mazraoui versus Son and Brennan Johnson versus Dalot. Dalot, we know, is a makeshift left back. That being said, he has the ability to bombard forward. Mazraoui has been very effective, very press resistant, and is defending decently as well. But for someone like Son's pace and creativity, he will have to be in top-notch form. Now it has been very well established that Ten Hag has been in the losing side to Ange Postecoglou's setup at Tottenham, drawing one and losing another. But this is the game in which we feel Ten Hag's team will finally overtake Spurs. Talking about which players might start this one for United, we believe it will be a unchanged back five with Onana in goal. Mazurai and Dallo will make up the full-back positions. Delit and Martinez get the nod ahead of Maguire. In midfield, this is a game in which we need the mobility of Ugarte, the intelligence of Menu, and finally Bruno to complete the piece. Bruno will need to be in top-notch form. He will have to recover from his inconsistent form this season. Hopefully he finds the net in this one.
I largely agree with the defense and the midfield. The only other consideration that I've been thinking of, and this is just coming on the back of how Erik ten Hag has been looking at some of the previous performances and what is my sentiment based on that. Given that the press Tottenham do can be very aggressive, I am starting to wonder if Ugarte will be trusted by Erik ten Hag to get his first start in the Premier League in this heavy-duty encounter. It might just be the case that Erik ten Hag might trust Eriksen once again, so that we are not giving up the ball that easily. We are controlling the ball a little more, and which is where Eriksen might get a fifth start in 5 games, which is like in 13-14 days. So that could be the only difference there. And then coming to the attack, I think Erik ten Hag has been rotating the wingers and giving all three of Rashford, Garnacho and Ahmad the minutes. So which is where, given what has happened in the past couple of games, I think Garnacho starts on the right on this one, Rashford starts on the left. And in terms of attack, I think Højlund's minutes are still being built up. So which is where I have a feeling that Zirkzee will start this one again.
Attack is where things might shape up differently. So while I agree on the wings part, Garnacho and Rashford will be starting this one. I believe this is a game in which Højlund might get the nod, with the sole reason being our inconsistency in front of goal. Yeah, there's a slight possibility Ten Hag manages his minutes, but I believe this is a good game to give him a start. So with that, where do I see this game going? You know what? I'm really optimistic with this one. Yes, we have had some frustrating result. Yes, we haven't been finishing all the games, but the simple factor means we are creating quality chances. If we can be just that tad bit sharper in front of goal, this could be the game where it comes together. We know Spurs' defense isn't perfect, and we have the attacking players to take advantage of that. With that, I'm predicting a 2-1 win for United. I feel Rashford and Højlund will get on the score sheet. With the Spurs attacking threat, I think we'll concede one goal, but the whole game we will need to stay focused defensively. This is a game where Delit shows his leadership. But that being said, I think United has what it takes to come out on top of this team. We've got the talent, we've got the experience, and the players will deliver.
I agree with most of what you said there, and this is a game where I definitely see both the sides scoring as well. This will not be an encounter where either of the sides are able to go back with a clean sheet. However, now I'm just starting to feel that, okay, last couple of games we have predicted a win and it has been a draw. So I will just go a little left of field this game and I will say a 1-1 draw. And hopefully United are able to prove me wrong again and win this time rather than the previous 2 times. But yeah, a 1-1 draw is what I am predicting with a goal from Bruno Fernandes.
With that, that's it from today. Make sure you tune into the game. Make sure you keep supporting United. Please like, share and subscribe to our podcast. Do give us feedback whenever possible. Let's hope for 3 more points. Let's hope for another memorable win against Spurs. Till then, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.